There's a logo above that's going on. Oh my god. Look at
Uh,
this. Look at
un-
this.
just wait, hold on a second. It's
Oh,
unbelievable. Oh,
oh. Look at, oh my goodness.
unbelievable.
The logo did not change.
It did not decapitate Trent's
We
rather large head. It looks rather large today. It's just because of where his camera's positioned. His
we
head is actually smaller than mine. As that's what Trent tells me, anyways.
we told
Um,
people the show was going to evolve, and look at we've evolved. The logo is not getting
we
any better.
we are evolving, and welcome everybody for the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. And welcome, and honestly, it's so glad to have you, Trent, the
Yeah,
co-host with the most. As everybody can see, if you are watching our show on a regular basis, my studio has changed. I am now in Vancouver for the Christmas holidays, and I'm in my 25 square foot office. It doesn't look like 25 square feet. It looks like it's larger, but trust me, that's about all of
it's
it
not.
that you see.
Yeah, it's not.
It is. I measured it. It's
No, no, it's
25
not.
square.
No, it's not larger than that though.
Oh no, it's tiny. It's 25 square feet. But I mean, it's a good thing I've lost 40 pounds because I can fit it here a lot more comfortable.
Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I got to show off my Akeem Olajuwon original
yeah,
Rockets
that's
jersey.
the
That is sweet. I love it. I love it.
wasn't
Trent, how you
original.
doing, bro?
The red jersey was still the original before that one came.
Yes, it was, but this is the only one I had. So, and it's really hot in here because
I'm doing
Flaps
great.
Jack.
Lots of shoveled snow twice today. It's
Nice,
snowing today, and
nice.
out with the dog and the wife and all that kind of stuff. It's beautiful. It's only about -5. So
Wow,
yeah, gonna
that's
try to watch a little bit of hoops later on tonight. Kind of a night off for both of us. Can chill.
hoops. Let's watch hoops.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god, that's gonna be your new toy. You're never gonna stop kicking balls. I could just see that.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyways, everybody, today's episode, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and Rowley. We're going to be, as we've, this will be our ninth episode. For those that didn't hear me the first time, we like to talk about all things basketball and with a focus on Canadian basketball as much as possible, which is a lot easier to do these days because Canada is the second country in the world that has more NBA players, of course, behind the Americans than any other country in the world. And we'll get into that in a later segment as well. But in the meantime, we're going to start off with the greatest female basketball player in the world. And we know who that is. If Trent wasn't married,
Asia Wilson.
well, Asia thinks she's the best. And she's statistically,
She's
um,
she's
yeah, oh, she's fantastic. I mean, what would you before we get into Caitlin Cart though? Who are your favorite female players in the WNBA?
wow.
Asia Wilson.
My,
I've seen her
my
play.
girl,
She's amazing.
my girl Caitlin is
Caitlin's number one, obviously. Diana,
Taurasi's
Diana,
old now. She's I mean,
she is, but when she was younger, she was a scoring
oh
machine,
yeah,
man.
she was.
Sue Bird, I love Sue
Yep.
Bird. I like that Poindexter kid. I don't know if she's still playing anymore. A little flashy point guard.
Yep.
Who else we got? What
Candace
about
Parker
the?
was a really good player.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even to go back in the day, I think one person that people talk about all the great women players, and Swoops. Cheryl Swoops always gets brought up with like Rebecca Lobo and those, and everybody seems to forget the best player of that era was Cheryl Cooper. She was like unbelievable.
yeah. She was
And she was like a 29-year-old rookie when the WNBA started. She'd been playing in Europe.
right,
Or Cynthia
right.
Cooper, sorry, isn't it? I think it's
It's
Cynthia.
Cynthia Cooper. Yeah, you're right.
She's
I was
an
wondering who you're talking about. I was like, oh, I don't know.
unbelievable player.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, that team carried the WNBA, winning
yeah,
4 straight titles, and just having
yeah.
having her and Swoops and Thompson, all like the original women's big three. They just dominated. Like
Yeah, it
she's
is.
so good.
It's in,
She doesn't seem to get a lot of love, I find.
no, you're right. And it's funny how people forget when all the new talent comes in. But when someone as dynamic as Caitlin Clark comes along, it's really hard to. Trent sent me a photo that it was a photo of her and Pistol Pete Maravich, and he's handing over the King's
Just a
what do you
crown.
call crown? Thank you to her, and they superimposed his black and white photo with his floppy socks when he was at LSU,
Yep.
and her. And I've got to find some. I've got to buy that for my office. I've got to find somewhere I can get that.
Pretty
I also want to buy her rookie card, her WNBA rookie card, basketball card, and I want to get Wemby's basketball card too. Wemby we're going to talk about later as well. But in the meantime, I just wanted to talk about, for those who don't understand the dynamic nature of Caitlin Clark. And in our last episode, Trent did a really nice segment. Was it this last one on the 7th episode or the 8th episode? It was the
This is
last
the
one,
last
right?
episode, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people commented on it, and it was eloquent, it was passionate, and I knew about her, but Trent really sort of directed me in her direction. Say, listen, you've really got to start watching her games. And of course, the very first game I did try to watch, she had a really bad game, but it happens.
Well, yeah.
And not often with her, that's for sure. But I just want to talk about Caitlin Clark outside basketball. I mean, what does she like to do? Caitlin Clark loves golf. And the reason why I brought that up is because Trent and I are both very passionate about golf. Trent's so fortunate that he lives on the 16th hole of a golf
This is
course.
true. Yep.
It's absolutely incredible, and when he's not on the golf course, he's sitting in his jacuzzi having a beverage, looking at the golf course,
Yeah.
and then when he's not on the golf course because it's wintertime, he puts his snowshoes on and takes his dog Jet out for a little blast on the golf course.
Yep.
So it's really quite remarkable. I mean, there is benefits to living in a small town, and
Life is good.
that would be one of them. And of course, a cost of a house in a small town in
Yes.
Alberta, the state sales tax or province state. I don't want to sound like the state. I've been listening to the Orange Blob saying
Oh,
that
God.
Canada is going to be the 51st state,
Yeah,
and
that's not
that
happening.
the
Come on.
moron that's running our country is actually a governor. Anyways, for the passion for
Yes.
as passionate as basketball sensation as she is. And basketball is her primary sport. Clark is also a huge fan of golf. As ESPN documented, she once joked that she would spend her offseason training to become a professional golfer. Certainly not the only basketball player that loves golf. A lot of basketball players do. It's a great game, tough game, mind twisting game. Well, she said that tongue in cheek. She also describes herself as an average golfer with a 16 handicap. Average 16? Okay, I guess
Yeah.
so. I
Nothing
don't
wrong with
know.
that. I
What
don't know.
handicap are you? You're a
Ask
10, right?
ask the fans that she pulled that drive into right off the first tee box when she got to play
Oh, I was just
Orange.
going to say, in November of 2024, Clark participated in the LPGA Pro-Am event called the Annika, of course, named after
Yep.
Annika Sorensen.
Yep.
My grandfather loved her, always talked about tempo, 6. She would
Dude.
always remind herself before swinging, 6.
Yep.
6 out of 10 on tempo on the swing, not a 10.
Yep.
And it's smart. I've tried it. It works. Although she had a shaky shot that Trent just mentioned, made a beeline for the spectators off the tee. Clark, because she didn't hit anyone.
Low.
She didn't kill anyone. But believe me, it's if you ever been hit by a golf ball, you don't want it to happen.
The next
Not
one was
fun.
good. Next one was in the fairway. So
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Clark enjoyed her time at the event. According to the Women's Health magazine, Clark's been golf since she was 6 years old.
Yep.
So a very talented family. Her brothers are athletic. Her father's athletic. Her mom's. I mean,
Yep.
it's all in the genes. And then another thing, Caitlin Clark's quite interesting is the WNBA star wants to own her own restaurant someday. Well, I've been in the hospitality industry for 28 years, and we're doing a segment in the future on all things Canadian with Johnny when I'm interviewing one of my friends who's, I think, probably the best restaurateur I've ever worked with. And the retail apocalypse is destroying America, and soon the hospitality and restaurant is, since COVID, has been dropping like it's people are dropping like flies. You can't make a buck. Prices are too high. But anyways, in Clark's astronomical popularity opened doors for her. Of course, she earns significantly more money than any other woman in the world today playing basketball. And she has, what's her Nike contract worth alone?
28 million
That's just incredible,
for like
dude.
8 years. So
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And she's earning at every imaginable way, and she's had a specific business idea for quite some time. She has said that the Taco Bout Network podcast, that she told her mom that she wanted to build a restaurant on a vacant lot near where she grew up in Iowa. With her money, it shouldn't be a problem. Clark
No.
said she'd like to open up a barbecue restaurant on the land. She's already bought the land, which is shows you how sincere she is. And yeah, she's just a phenomenal gal. And I think it was like rib, and she said no. She wants to call it the Rib Crib, which is kind of a cool name
Yeah.
for a barbecue restaurant. It's excellent.
Sure.
I've always wanted. She's quoted to say, "I've always wanted to open up this restaurant called the Rib Crib, and I was devastated when the lot got purchased, and they built a retirement home. Well, she went out and bought a better lot right after that because she was so upset. And she said it's ended
Yeah.
up being a better lot, better decision. And that's the
Yeah.
way things unfold. And this is what Trent and I were talking about in the pre show. She went to Mexico during the 2024 Olympic break. There was a lot of controversy surrounding Caitlin and the U.S. Basketball's decision not to include her, which is totally ridiculous, on the Olympic team in the summer of 2024. While it was disappointing for her and her most ardent supporters worldwide now, she's the number one. She's
Yeah.
transcended the game of basketball for female basketball throughout the entire globe, like Michael Jordan did, like
Yeah.
Yao Ming did in China.
Yeah.
And this is about female basketball.
Embrace it,
So
women. Embrace it.
oh, it's just please do because it's remarkable, and female basketball has always been good. I used to coach female basketball when I was in Europe, and I volunteered here. Trent spent 16 years volunteering in his communities, teaching the young women basketball and young men. And so kudos to you, Trent, and for all the people that volunteer out there. It's what makes these kids, better human beings. They really enjoy the mentorship,
Yeah.
and if you have an opportunity to volunteer in your community, please go out and do it. You change the lives of these young people.
Yep.
And then so there was a lot of controversy. They just screwed up, and it gave the Fever star some much needed R&R. She played a lot of golf. She soaked up the sun with some of her WNBA teammates in Cabo, Mexico. Good for her. Rest and relaxation. Clark's boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, also joined her in the trip. She told the Indianapolis Star before leaving, I honestly cannot wait not to touch a basketball for a while. I've shot too many times in the past year. Well, good for her because that's really important
Oh yeah.
that you have a life balance,
Well,
right?
she had 2 straight seasons of going to the NCAA championship game
Yeah,
and
exactly.
dragging a team to that. So people need to
Yeah,
know a team that had 0 top 50 recruits made it to
yeah,
the NCAA championship game 2 years in a row,
yeah. No, good point.
right?
And that's why we love doing these things. I'll just bounce some stuff off, and Trent can because
And then
he's
a month
really,
later, she's playing in it, and then a month later after that 2nd year, she's being drafted and playing in the WNBA. Like, she
yeah.
needed a break. And as a
Oh,
fan,
absolutely. Yeah,
what she what she did after after that Olympic break
yeah,
was only to average like 20 and 12 the rest of the year. Like,
yeah.
just
Don't
just
forget the
think
assists.
just that's what I mean, 20 and 12 assists.
Oh, and also the rebounds.
Yeah, rebounds were like 6, 7.
Yeah, she's
So,
almost averaging a triple double,
but
really.
it's just amazing. She's an amazing player. Like you said, it's generational.
Yeah, she's
And
just.
I
It's
hope
it's
that people embrace it. When you look online and you see the comments, unfortunately, she's been a lightning rod for it to be about race, and that sucks.
yeah,
Just embrace what she's bringing. All these other women are making more money right now. They're I mean, Juju Watkins, Sabrina Ionescu, Asia Wilson, all just signed shoe deals as well that are the biggest ones in women's history. That's happening because they all can look and say thank you. And they should be saying thank you to her because
not
those
many of
deals
them
were
are,
there.
Trent. Not many of them are.
Those deals were there before, but they
Yeah,
weren't paying what they're paying right now
no,
because
no.
all these shoe companies and clothing companies, they're
Yep.
going, hey, we need to get in because here it comes. This is coming, people. It's with the girls that are in college right now that are coming out in the next 3 seasons. This is the golden age of women's basketball. It's upon us.
Yes.
There are so many talented women playing right now in college.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's unreal. It's
Not just in the Western Hemisphere. It's really
everywhere.
it's a global
Yep,
phenomenon, and
yep,
God bless her because basketball is the fastest growing team sport in the world. She also loves country music. Not a big surprise,
mm,
where she grew up and where she's from. But anyone even remotely familiar with Caitlin Clark's game on the basketball court knows that she likes to push the pace of the game, and her game is like Pistol Pete Maravich's. It's flashy. She does a lot to the game. However, the music she likes is much more relaxed. She told Iowa Everywhere, whatever that is, in 2023, okay, this is probably going to be surprising to a lot of people, but I got more like calm music when I'm warming up. And she says she likes to listen to the soundtrack of usually, country music tunes. And the reason why she wears number 22, Caitlin Carr, made the number 22 iconic throughout her time in college basketball, as Trent was just alluding to just briefly ago. And during her short time in the WNBA, it's pretty obvious why she decided to don that number, because it's worked for her then, it's working for her now, and it will work for her for the remainder of hopefully a very long career.
Exactly.
Where it all began. Clark told Sporting News, honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd. So that's why since I was about 5 years old, I've always been number 22. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of blurb, even in case even Trent didn't know about it. He's from Alberta. Country western music's very popular there.
I know this.
Yeah, you
Go
did,
on.
eh? Not surprising.
Go on.
And the next segment we like to do is we like to talk a little bit about NCAA basketball, and we always just find time to talk about who we think is going to be the first pick in the NBA draft. And if he isn't the first pick, whoever gets him second is going to be just ecstatic, because the kid they're talking about, of which his name escapes me, is averaging 23.5. And he's this wonderfully talented athletic brother, and I honestly cannot remember his name. I should have put it in, but really, this segment's called Cooper is Balling. And if you haven't heard of Cooper Flagg, you should really watch Duke play this year, even if you hate Duke. The kid is remarkable. He was 17 years old when he practiced with the American first team Olympic squad, and apparently was lighting everybody up. He's 6'10", and here's a few things. Here's a few things that Cooper Flagg can do. After his first 11 games as a college player, he led Duke in scoring, rebounding, assists, and block shots. The only stat that is struggling a little bit is his 3-point shot. It's only about
Yeah.
26%. He should
Yeah.
be in the mid 30s
He'll
to
get
the
better.
high 30s, but
I
he
know.
will. That'll
He's
come.
young.
He's still a
Yeah,
young
he's
man.
got that. Yeah.
And then he can be the first Blue Devil in 40 years. Now, anytime you say a statement like that, you really have to look at the list of players that have come through Duke. Whether you like Duke or not, they produce some pretty
A lot.
outstanding players. Yeah, Trent's not a fan, and I have to admit, I did like to watch them because they've had some great players over the years. He'll be the first Blue Devil in 40 years, and there's quite a few good ones, to collect 50 or more points, 25 or more rebounds, 10 or more assists in his first 3 career games, according to ESPN. It's
Right.
quite remarkable for
Right.
a 17-year-old kid. He's now 18.
Yep.
He can anchor one of the elite defenses in the nation, and Duke is really starting to put it together defensively and offensively. And by the way, Cooper Flagg may be the best player, maybe the best player in America right now in college basketball, but he's got some fantastic teammates too. And the
Yeah.
new coach has done a really good job, considering who
Yeah.
he had to replace. It's impossible to
They
replace
got
his
a
coach.
they got a kid that was on the that's like 19 that was on the South Sudan Olympic team as well.
That's right. He's
Yeah.
the center.
Yeah. He's like ridiculous athlete too. Like,
Oh my God, is
yeah.
he ever? It's
Yeah.
really,
No,
and
anybody but Duke.
oh yeah, and they got a small forward too that can shoot it. He's aggressive. He's the second leading scorer on the team.
So, hey, I
Um,
think the guy you're talking about, are you talking about Anthony Roy from
uh,
playing at Green Bay? He's averaging 25.7.
no, no,
No,
no. But that would be the third person I would mention.
he's second because Eric
This,
Dixon from
this kid's got
Villanova.
a red uniform. I don't know if he's playing at Auburn or whatever. He's 23.5 points. Light skinned
Dylan
brother.
Dylan Harper
Maybe.
from Rutgers.
Yeah,
What
that's
is
him.
Yeah, he's a freshman. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, is he a freshman? Oh,
yeah, he's averaging 23.3.
that's him. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
like
dude.
6.
So they're talking that he could be number one as well.
Yeah, there's some good
I,
players for sure.
yeah, but I think Cooper's got it. He's very
Cooper's a
special.
Cooper's a unicorn, right? He's
Oh,
the kind of player that's a unicorn.
yeah,
That's
he's like kind of like, he reminds me of an American Dirk Nowitzki. If you watch Dirk
yeah.
play when he was 17 years old, like I
More,
did.
more athletic though,
Oh, absolutely,
like way more athletic.
absolutely. But anyways, so where are we here? He can anchor elite defenses. Duke has allowed 46 and 47 points in their last 2 games. Arizona could only get 55, and that's really difficult to say
Yeah,
because Arizona's stacked.
yeah,
They are tough. And he hit 96 times, and was held to a reasonable 78. He can produce games of 22 points, 11 rebounds against Auburn, followed with a 2012 versus Louisville. Not a single turnover in 66 minutes, which is really impressive. It shows you what a cerebral player he is. He's got it up here. Also, 26 points against Kentucky, 24 against Arizona. These are big teams. These
Yep.
teams are,
Yeah, those
the
are
top
blue bloods. They're the
1%.
blue bloods. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it doesn't seem to phase him when he plays against. He just doesn't care. And that's what LeBron said when he was playing against them in practice. He goes, "The kid just lit me up," and LeBron doesn't say that about anyone because it's LeBron. And he things that you don't know that Cooper Flag can't do. Well, he can't vote. He can't play the lottery. He cannot open a checking account. He can't get a tattoo without parental consent,
Oh
which is
yeah.
strange. He cannot make a will. He can't buy fireworks, spray paint, sit on a jury, or drink. The last one he doesn't need to.
How's
Stay
that?
away
How's
from.
that 20 year? How's that 21-year-old type mandate working out for you, America? Give me a
Yeah,
break.
yeah.
21.
It's. I don't think it's in all states though, is it?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
still.
it's so stupid, man. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
And it says, no, and then it goes not until Saturday. Anyways, of course, this is when he
Right.
turned.
Right.
And then he goes, "Yep, the most ballyhooed freshman in college basketball hits the big 1-8 Saturday, and not many preseason All Americans could ever say such a thing with 9 wins already in the bag. He has
Yep.
accomplished so much that, so far as a legal minor goes, that includes being the first 17-year-old in NCAA history to win multiple 20-point double doubles, and he did it 3 times, which is really remarkable." Um, and anything else you want to add about Cooper Trent?
No, man. I think if anybody's watching, I mean, Duke's always going to be on TV. So if you get a chance to watch their
Yeah,
game, watch their games.
yeah, yeah,
He's the thing about him is he knows how probably. I mean, obviously he knows how he gets talked about within the media and all that kind of thing, and how great he
sure.
is, wonderful. But if you watch him play, he's very team oriented. He doesn't take a lot of tough or really bad shots. The ball moves.
Yeah,
He moves to get the ball. He's not just standing around dribbling it, but
yeah,
he's a team player that way. So
yeah,
he's a guy that's going to get 17 points a game, but he's going to get you 8 to 10 boards. He's going to get 4 to 5 assists. He's going to get a
yeah,
couple blocks. Like there's going to be games that sure he might get 30 and
yeah,
erupt, but most times he's going to be in that other range because he's a very
yeah,
team centric player. Like that's what makes him a really good player. And at the
yeah,
NBA
and
level, when you can't play zone, well, all of
yeah,
a sudden that really athletic player, because he is super athletic at 6'10", he's all of a sudden there's some lanes for a big athletic guy like that in the NBA because
yeah.
nobody
No, it's
plays defense
good
at the
point.
next level.
And
So
they are allowed to play zone in the NBA.
yeah, but they can't stand in the key still the whole time, Paul. You still
Yeah,
have
I
to.
know.
Whereas in college, the big guy can stand in the
Yeah,
key though, right? A little
I
different.
know. I'm
So
I'm um I'm
yeah,
refereeing. I've mentioned in my last show in Kelowna. I'm a paid referee with the Kelowna
professional
referees.
referee.
I'm a professional referee. Can you imagine? It's awesome. Anyway, so and these kids they park in the key, and I'm counting
Yeah,
11, 12, and so I
right.
just talk to them. I say, "Listen, I'll give you a warning. It's called 3 in the key. I'll call it next
Yeah,
time." And
yeah.
they just
Pretty close
continue to
there.
do it, so I call it
Yeah,
until they get it right. And it's part of the game. They should know it. It's FIBA
yeah.
rules.
Mhm.
Anyways, the next segment we're going to do, because Trent and I, it's NBA Yahoo Fantasy, basketball fantasy with our Hoop Junkies team. Both Trent and I, we drafted in a league, a pretty good league,
Nice.
together against each other under the our banner, which is our logo, and
Yep.
just above Trent's head, which is the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from the Hoop Junkies, Pauly and ROWLEY. And we always like to do, because in fantasy basketball, Trent plays fantasy basketball. He's got one team in basketball, but you've got 2 teams in football. Is that right?
3, 3.
3. Good for
Yeah,
you. And
yeah,
that's the only other ones, or?
yeah, yeah. That's
Okay,
it.
so in basketball, we have Trent and I. We like to work the waiver wire, and we have a segment we call Waiver Wired Connected, and Connected was spelt Dalton Connect when he had just a huge game in the early part of the season. I was
Hell
like
of a
both,
run. Yep.
yeah, and both Trent and I just we Trent told me about him in Tennessee, and I watched him, and I was like, wow, I love this kid, and we just called it after it because it sounded good, connected. And right now, there's a kid that nobody, when the Raptors drafted him. And by the way, did you see the Raptors game last night?
Yeah.
Holy crap! I'll talk about that later. It was just absolutely brutal. But Grady Dick is
He's playing great.
he's 46% available on the
Yeah,
on the waiver wire, and the guy's averaging almost 19 points a game.
yeah.
3 rebounds, couple
Yeah.
assists. a steal, 3 threes,
Yeah, he's done
and
everything good,
he's 6'8". And you know what I like about him, Trent? If you take a look at any other sort of Caucasian kid that's 6'8", that's purely a shooter like Svi or Red Velvet. Svi is aggressive. Red Velvet's really passive.
right.
I can't stand him,
That's
and
your
he's
guy.
very inconsistent. But Grady will dunk on people,
Yeah,
and he's aggressive, and he's playing really big minutes. And if he's on the waiver wire, I'd pick him up because
he's got a
not
nice ceiling
only
player, actually.
yeah, I
He
like
has
him,
a nice ceiling, yeah.
and it goes, not only a Barnes set to miss extended time, although he came back since. By the way, we put episode 9 and 10 together because of the Christmas holidays, and
Right.
then because of the Emirate
Yeah, it's screwed up.
tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it screwed up. It screwed up the whole NBA schedule. So, and plus, we needed some time off with our families at
Understandably.
Christmas, and it gave me an opportunity to come from Kelowna to Vancouver and hang out, see my wife. I haven't seen her in 6 months, and it was great. And but Emmanuel quickly should be coming back, and they can hardly wait to get him back because Memphis scored 155 points against them last night, and it's a joke. It was an absolute wipeout. It was incredible. But
Yeah.
I'll talk about that later because the big man in the middle, Canadian Zach Edey, had his best game as a
Yep.
professional.
Yep.
And it says, anyways, he's averaging in the 11 game stretch where both players were sidelined earlier. Dick got a lot of time. He was getting like 36 minutes a
Yep.
game.
Yeah, he's
He
playing
had
a lot.
almost 20 points, 3.4 rebounds, 2.6 steals, 1 3, and 2.5 3-pointers a game. And I think he's very surprising. I didn't think he would be that good, to be honest. When he got drafted, I was like, "Who's this
No,
guy?" You
no,
know?
he's improved a lot this year. He's
Yeah, really surprising. Another guy I bring up, no one talks about, and he's had some really incredible games on pretty much one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NBA, and that is the Pelicans, is this young French kid, Yves Missy. So I
yeah.
picked him up. I told Trent he's been on my waiver wire connected 3 weeks, I think, and nobody was picking him up. He's at 36% now, so it used to be like 8%. And I was like, why is nobody picking this kid up? He's the only center on the roster. He's young, he's athletic, he's aggressive, and he's putting up really good numbers. And in then 12 games, he was averaging about 10 points, just under 8 rebounds, just under 2 blocks, shooting 69% from the field, just under 70% from the field, 80% from the 3-point line, which is really difficult for 7-footers in the NBA. And Paulo Banchero ripped his oblique, and
Yep.
guess what happened to Franz Wagner?
Wagner.
He ripped his oblique
Yeah.
as well. It's
The new
is
injury.
oblique is the new calf contusion. What the heck is going on, man?
Yeah.
The other guy I was talking about was playing really well, but he's now injured, of course. He was closing in on top 100 value and 9 caps. Surprisingly, Ao Dasumnu, who is this combo guard for the Chicago Bulls. I'm really surprised I'm mentioning him because they've got so many guards. At least they had so many guards. All of
Yeah.
them are injured right now.
Yeah. Again.
And again, and so he had to go in, and a coach was playing him, and he really performed. He had 16 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, almost 6 assists, a steal and a half a block, 2.1 3-pointers, shooting 54% as a guard in the NBA and from the field and 93 from the line. I
Yep.
mean, those are really good numbers playing 34 minutes a game. He's actually injured right now. Josh Giddey's injured. Lonzo Ball is injured again, of course. Lonzo Ball is always injured, but I love him.
Yeah.
God bless him. And another young kid that has been very inconsistent. He had a really, really strong start of the year, disappeared 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden found himself again. And that's Bilal Koulibaly from France, who played
Yeah.
with Wembyama on
Yeah.
the same French team that won the French A-League championship.
He's in Washington, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's going to get plenty of opportunity in
Yep.
Washington, and he's playing 36 minutes a game.
Yep.
He got off to a slow start, then he's just been rolling in the last couple of weeks. He's 16. Well, he dropped, but he's back at it again. He's starting to play well. I picked him up in one team out of my 8
I
teams.
was tempted to pick him up.
Well, the thing about him, he reminds me of like a young Greek freak in that he's long. He has a 7'4" wingspan, which is ridiculous. He's only 6'9", but he's long. He's got long arms. He's
Yep.
16, just under 17 points a game, just under 6 rebounds, 5
Yep.
assists, 1.6 steals, 1.4 blocks, 2 threes a game, 36 minutes a game. His field goal percentage is hit a little bit low because of the threes that he's taking. but his defensive production and improved playmaking make him a really intriguing player. He's getting the minutes, he's getting the usage on a bad team,
Right.
and I like him. I think he's got a lot of potential. The next player, Trent and I were just talking in our pre-show, and both of us agreed that probably one of the most inconsistent players in the last 5 seasons, always injured, like the most ridiculous injuries. But DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks, for some reason, he only 39% drafted in Yahoo. And I've on my 8 teams, I have him on 7 of my teams now. I couldn't get him on the 8th. Someone else
Right.
scooped him. And
Well,
Trent, I believe you scooped him recently on our league, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And look what he did last night.
Yeah. He is, as I said to you, he was a really good player in college.
Yeah.
They won a championship at Virginia, him and
Yeah.
Jerome together.
Yeah.
Um, he's struggled in the NBA with injuries, but when he plays, he's been a pretty good player. But he's improved his 3-point shooting, and he seems to be healthy right now. And this is by far the best he's played in the NBA since he was drafted. This is
Absolutely.
the best season that guy is having. I'm super happy to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, that dunk he had on Wembyama to
Nasty.
put the game into overtime there was crazy.
But
Um,
I don't know if it was as good as
Kuminga's the other night.
oh my God. And that's the second game in a row he's thrown down one of these tomahawk ones, right? And he jumped off 2 feet.
He's getting traded. They're trading him.
Yeah.
They're using him for trade bait. They're playing him
Yeah.
like over 30 minutes a game right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Curry's out tonight or tomorrow night when they
Yeah.
play, or tonight I
Yeah.
think. So he'll play 35 again tonight.
Yeah. And
I
Buddy
had
Hield.
drafted him, but I dropped him. Buddy Hield's
Yeah.
a chucker. That's
No,
it.
I understand that, but I'm saying he'll have probably a big game, and hopefully Dennis Schroeder can put it together. He's had a real tough struggle
You know the other
since
guy's
being.
on a heater. When you talk about a guy like that's just a chucker like Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield hasn't really shot the ball that well this year
Yeah.
overall. The other guy who's actually been on a, like we like to say, a heater. The other guy on a heater for like the last 5 games, I think the least amount of threes he has is 5, is Michael Beasley
Yeah.
on the Pistons.
Yeah.
He has just been like, he had like 7 the other night, and then he followed it up with 6, and then he followed it up with 7 again.
And
And
well, he had 5. He had 5 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Unreal.
the coach. The coach loves him, and he's
Yeah.
getting a lot of minutes, and his
He's-
confidence is sky high, and he's playing for a big fat paycheck.
I just love it. He's like typical chucker, man. He's like just
Did you
thriving,
read
averaging
my
like 1.2 assists.
can that's funny, eh?
Love it.
Did you look at my cheat sheet through your screen? Because guess who my next
No,
player is?
no, not at all, man.
It's
No,
Malik Beasley.
that's fine.
Beasley averaged 24 points,
All right, he's on
2.3 rebounds, 2.7 assists, so one more assist more than you just said.
Yeah.
1.3 steals over the last 3 games last week, including a 28-point performance. He had 21 last night.
Yep.
He's getting the usage, he's getting the minutes, and after a modest start to the season, Beasley looks to be on the rise with 20 points in 11 of his last
I
20
almost picked him up.
games.
I'm almost
Yeah.
picked him up and got rid of Christian Braun. He's kind
Yeah,
of
I
struggling.
actually dropped Braun,
Yeah.
but I picked up someone else. I picked up Hunter.
Right.
I was gonna get Grady Dick, but because Barnes came back, I was wondering that. But
Right.
they're just
He's
not going very deep on their bench.
No.
And if you watch that game last night against Memphis, 0 defense.
Oh.
The Raptors played with no heart.
No.
So I think honestly, I think Darko, their coach, who I like, I think he's going to be toast.
Yep.
I said it
Well,
before.
there was a I got a little ESPN update as we were on the show.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaches being fired, the Sacramento Kings have fired Mike Brown.
No way.
Yep.
Well, you know who that means. So you know what's going to happen now. The associate head coach of the Sacramento Kings is my old coach and mentor, Jay Triano.
Let's go, Jay, man. Give him a shot.
Yeah, this will be Jay's third stint as a coach.
Yeah.
His past 2 stints didn't work out well, but he's done really well. I mean, look, Jay's done exceptionally well as the only person I've ever met in my life that's never actually had a single job in his life. I used to live in his house when I went to Simon Fraser University under scholarship.
Come
What's
on.
that?
I mean, being a coach is a job.
No, I'm talking about throughout his entire life.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And he got drafted by the Lakers in the 6th round when the NBA had 12 rounds way back in the day. And Jay's done exceptionally well for himself.
Yeah.
And
Good on him, man.
I'm really surprised they fired him. But you know what? Coaches are hired to be fired. That's the way I look at it.
You look at these teams, just like you just said about the Raptors, when your teams play that way.
Yeah.
again, players have tuned you out. Players are
Yeah,
not listening to the
yeah.
message, and when it's only half the players, that's not enough. They all have to
No,
be in it together, and
absolutely. And the
it,
thing is that they need a scapegoat. They need to blame someone because GM's not going to quit.
no.
The ownership, they're not going to quit. They're not going to sell the team
Yeah,
because
I
the
just
coach
thought I'd
is
throw that in
useless.
there because I'm with you on Darko too. I could see him not lasting the entire
No,
season. I'd
no.
I'd rather see them wait to the end of the year to fire a coach
Yeah,
because then you can start over instead of just throwing your assistant to the wolves, and then everybody
yeah,
expects your assistant, he should be the coach. Well, not
yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's a good point. I have to talk about, and I'll give Trent an opportunity. There's two players I want to talk about. One in particular, because of my 8 teams. Every team that I get, you don't know what draft position you get. It's random, and
Right.
you can get 12th, which I don't mind 12th. You can get first, which is
Well,
really rare.
we were 9 and 10 in ours.
Yeah, we were dead
So,
last out of
yeah,
10 teams. I was last. Trent
yeah,
was
I was
ninth,
yeah, 9th and 10th.
and I was like, oh, Trent's going to definitely steal some of my players, and he did. He did, true to form.
As
But
you did.
I got to bring up Victor Wembanyama,
Yeah,
Wemby. He became and by the way, this is 10 days old, this information. So what
yeah,
he's done in 10 days since is even
yeah,
on top of this is absolutely remarkable.
ridiculous.
He became the sixth and youngest player in NBA history to record 30 points and 10 blocks in a game. 10 blocks. He almost had a
Yeah,
quadruple
yeah,
like four last year, but he had 9 blocks
yeah,
instead of 10.
yeah,
So, I mean, it just shows you. And in a game, the only player ever to record 10 blocks and hit 4 3 pointers in a game. And he racked up 30 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 10 blocks in the win last week against the Trailblazers. He also drained his 200th career 3 pointer. The kid is 7'4",
I know.
maybe 7'5". They got him listed at 7'3". I wish they'd correct that. It's
Yeah,
just ridiculous. And his hands are like you know, alien Egyptian hands, right?
yep,
They're he when he palms the
that's
basketball, it
crazy.
looks like he's holding a grapefruit. It's
It's nuts.
and for someone to understand
He looks
to
like a
shoot
cartoon character, dude, out there.
I can palm a basketball because I have big hands, but to shoot like Wemby's hands are like this.
Yeah, it's
To
crazy.
shoot a basketball with huge hands and have the correct follow through and get
Right,
rotation is
right.
almost impossible.
It's
But
crazy.
he on Christmas Day, he went absolutely nuts and he had 48 points, 18 rebounds,
42.
4 blocks. He had 6 threes, and he tied the only other player in NBA history to put those kind of numbers up was David Robinson, and that was like 25 years
Yeah,
ago.
and David Robinson wasn't shooting any threes.
Not in his early in his career, but towards the end of his career when he scored
Not a
72.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he shot a couple, but overall, he wasn't shooting threes like Wemby. Wemby is, like,
Yeah.
shooting threes like a shooting guard, for God's sakes.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
So
unfortunately, their coach, Coach Pop, had suffered a stroke about a month ago
right.
and is recovering apparently quite well. And the young coach has taken over, has allowed Wemby the green light, where Pop wasn't really convinced at this stage.
No.
Pop's old school, and he doesn't really
Yeah,
appease
I
rookies
I
too
love
much.
Pop. He's probably sitting there with a red wine
Oh
interviewing
yeah,
as
oh
he's
yeah.
recovering, like
If his doctors allow it,
yeah.
because if you're sitting all the time and
Yeah,
drinking wine, that strokes
yeah.
are the things that can happen,
I'll
right?
put it in a backpack as a sippy thing. Figure it out. I'm sure he has
I
got
love it. I love
something.
Pop too, and I hope he gets better.
Yeah,
And so reaching the milestone in just 94 appearances, and that was the 300th or 200th
right.
3 pointer, which is faster than both Stephon Curry and James Harden, which is just
Yeah.
crazy.
He's
Oh
unbelievable.
my God. So he is the NBA created a new stat for Wemby, the first time in the history, and he became the first ever defensive player of the month because of his stocks.
Right.
Stocks are both his ridiculous blocks,
Yeah.
but also he's great at steals because he's deflecting.
Yeah.
He stands there and he's 8 foot wingspan. He can on tippy toes. He can slam dunk the ball on tippy toes.
Dude, he looks
Like
like an animated character. He looks like a cartoon character out
he
there.
really does. I wonder what he looks like in the basketball, the computer games.
Just meeting him in person would be crazy. I'd
Oh,
be
I,
like,
I hope to someday.
I'm
I'm definitely going to get his rookie card, his NBA rookie card tops.
right.
I don't. I think it's like $150 right now or something. If you can get a 10, If you see one, Trent, let me know. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll pay up to 200 for it.
Right.
And then another guy I want to talk about because I knew nothing about him until Atlanta made this fantastic trade to get him. He was rotting in the Pelicans franchise,
Yep.
and he said I had to get out of the Pelicans. He said that the team and the city, they're haunted. I don't know if that's truth. And by the way, these are just opinions from a couple of hoop junkies. What do
Yeah.
we know? But this
Yeah.
is coming from the player's mouth. He said I was so happy to get out of there. There was something odd. Everybody was getting injuries. There was some sort of, he felt the team was cursed. But Dyson Daniels got traded to Atlanta, and what he's done, talk about a thief. This kid had in 2 games last week had 8 steals, and then he followed that up with 6 steals before the 8 steals, and then 6 steals. He only had 1 steal last night, but he's leading the NBA in steals right now. Trent, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it
Yep.
4 steals plus
Three.
a game?
3.1.
No, it should be more. It's more than that now because
3.1. I'm looking right at ESPN right now.
well, that's wrong. Because since they
Doesn't
had
matter
it,
what you want the number to be and what the
no,
number
it's
is.
not what I want. Is that's wrong. That's old because he was 3.1 when we did episode 8,
Well, he's
and
3.1
in the
right.
last week he's had 2 8 steals and 2 6 steals
I'm
in the
on.
last 2 weeks.
Actually on Atlanta's page even, and they have their leaders, and he's at 3.1 steals a game.
Yeah, that can't be right.
Yeah, that's fine.
But because Trent says it, I'll believe him. The other
No,
thing
no,
it's
ESPN, not Trent. I'm
I
just
don't believe
looking right at
ESPN.
ESPN.
I honestly I don't follow ESPN. They don't. I follow Yahoo because ESPN when they do ESPN's top 150 and they do Yahoo's top 150,
Right.
it's not even close.
Yeah.
They don't know. I don't know who's doing it
But
over at
whatever.
ESPN.
He's having a ridiculous season.
It's
Right.
just it's unbelievable,
Right.
and he's a really perfect complementary backcourt player for Trey
Yeah.
because Trey can't stop a
Yeah.
butterfly
That's perfect. Yep.
defensively.
Agreed.
And then you know what? I didn't know about this, so I thought I'd bring it up because it's kind of cool and it leads into my next segment. The NBA today, and of course this was 3 days ago, announced that the celebrations of the second annual World Basketball Day to honor the game of basketball and bring people together from around the world. The game was established in 2023 by the United Nations under FIBA and is observed annually on December 21st. The date that Dr. James Naismith, who is on our ticker. We love Dr. James Naismith because, like my first iteration of the Canadian Bro Show, All Things Canadian, we love to talk about Canadian basketball. And Dr. James Naismith, he invented the game of basketball while he was employed at the YMCA and the University of Massachusetts by Americans in 1894. And then, of course, World Basketball Day celebrates the cross-cultural unity through a shared passion for the game, which is the fastest-growing game in the world, team sport. It values and the values that it represents. Yesterday, a bipartisan resolution was introduced in the United States of House of Representatives honoring the contributions of basketball to a global entity, international sports diplomacy, and transformative impact of the sport and communities across the globe. It's really exciting. It's incredible what's going on. And it says here, now this is incorrect. I'll tell you, this stat's incorrect for sure. Nearly 600 million people worldwide play basketball. It's well over that. It's well over a billion. In China alone, there's over 500 million because of Yao Ming, and that was 15 years ago. In collaboration with the NBA Players Association, the National Collegiate Association, USA Basketball, the International Basketball Federation (FIBA), the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, the National Federation of State High School Associations, the NBA family, and we'll celebrate World Basketball Game from now on. And this leads me into my top 10 global rankings. This is FIBA global rankings. Although USA is number one, they're not really in FIBA. They're in
Right.
the NBA. But however, FIBA is a globally recognized. It's the largest basketball organization in the world. However, the NBA is the largest money earner and number one in the Western Hemisphere. USA is obviously first in the world, have been since late 60s. And number two, Trent, who do you think? What do you guess?
Germany or Spain
You got it. You got it right
or
the last
France.
time I asked you.
Yeah.
Serbia.
Serbia. Oh yeah, Serbia.
Yeah. Number three is Germany.
All right.
because of what Schroeder and the Wagner brothers did. And
Yeah.
they just unbelievable. They beat the Americans, they beat the Canadians, they beat everyone. It was incredible. France also on the rise, like Canada. France is number 4 in the world. Canada's right behind them, number 5. Canada had never been closer than 18 up until recently. Now they're 5th best in the world. It just shows you what's happening to Canadian basketball. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited that Trent and I are able to share this information to our hopefully growing legions of fans that will eventually be watching our show and are watching it currently. Number 6 is Spain. Number 7 is Australia. Number 8 is Argentina. Nobody talks about them. They've
Yeah.
been a powerhouse in
Yeah.
FIBA for
Forever.
decades.
Forever. Yeah.
Coming very closely behind, these two countries are the favorite sport in these two countries is basketball. Can you guess them?
I don't know. South Sudan.
No, South Sudan is in the top 30
Yeah. They should
because
be
of the
now after the
last.
Olympics. Yeah.
Now they're 28 or something. Yeah.
I don't know. Croatia and
No, Croatia's
Lithuania.
they're in the top 20, but it's Latvia is
Latvia.
next,
Yeah.
and Lithuania,
Lithuania is what I
where
said.
Sabonis is from.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And
it's
Barcelona.
yeah, exactly. Not just them. Oh
Right.
yeah, he was the first one to really.
Yeah.
He
From
was. Oh man, they were good
Golden
back
State
when.
Warriors. Run
Oh,
CMC. Barcelona's coming off the bench.
do you
That
remember
was
this? Do you remember the 6 man that came off on that team? The 6 man that came off the bench,
awesome.
Dwayne Morton,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
6'7".
Yeah. Yeah.
I was teammates with him in the London Towers, my last
Oh,
team
okay.
of my
Okay.
professional career.
Fun
Really
team.
nice guy.
Super fun team to
Always
watch.
gave me the rock. Anytime I was open on the 3, he'd pass it to me.
Super fun team to watch.
Oh,
They were
really
super fun to
exciting
watch.
team. Yeah.
So
And is there anything else that you want to talk about basketball?
no, I'm
Anything you
nice,
saw
nice to
recently?
see.
Do you want to talk about that kid that just playing for a Division 3 team went off for like what's his
What did
name?
I send you? I
Trayson.
think he was an indigenous kid.
Yeah,
What did I send you? Went for 44 or something?
yeah, against a
Like,
top team,
yeah, against the top team. Yeah, he plays at North Dakota State or something. Something
North
like that.
Dakota State.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of them.
yeah, something like that, or Northern Iowa or something like
So he's
crazy.
got to be like 6'8",
Yeah, he's
6'9",
like
right?
6'7", 6'8", I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good
And did
player.
you see
Nice
the
kid.
game or?
No, I just saw the highlights.
Oh, I'm gonna check it out after the show because I love to hear when you hear these guys.
Yeah,
They step into the zone and they
yeah,
stay there for a whole game and they go nuts.
yeah. It's awesome. The
They
whole
didn't win though. They didn't win though, right?
no, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd have to look at it again, but
Yeah, that's okay. And the next thing is if Trent's not going to do, we like to talk about what's going on because at the end of our show we like to talk about the Eastern Conference standings and the Western Conference standings. It's very fluid. It's changing all the time, and right now there's a number of teams like Oklahoma. I'll just let Trent talk about it. We'll break it down. We'll talk about each team, talk about players that are on the upswing, players that are on downswing. Then we can talk about some rumors with trades and stuff. And then, yeah. Anyways, Trent, who do you got this week? What do you want to start? You want to go east or west?
we'll start with East. Always with East.
Okay.
Always end on the best coast, which is the West Coast, right?
Guess who they just made the
Well,
new head coach of the Sacramento Kings?
not Jay Triano.
No,
No,
but he
who?
was the associate head coach.
Yeah,
Take a guess. An old player
I
of
haven't looked yet. So
I'll tell you right now, it just came up. Doug Christie.
really,
Yeah, that 6'7" guard.
yeah, from Sacramento. But has he coached? Has he been an assistant somewhere?
Oh, he was assistant on the team already.
Okay. So they made him the coach, not our.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
well, good for them. Good for
Oh,
him.
and some bad news. I really enjoyed Greg Gumbel, legendary
He
broadcaster.
passed?
Yeah, he passed
Oh,
78.
too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
too
you're
young, very
yeah.
too young. It's
You're the
just
original African American announcers that you got to see on television.
yeah.
Just,
Well, I
uh,
mean, Clyde the Glide, Fraser. I mean, Walt Fraser was the very first, I believe.
Yeah, he was doing. He was. I'm talking national. Clyde Fraser was doing New York Knicks stuff. He wasn't
True.
doing
And
national
Kelvin
stuff.
Murphy also was doing,
Yeah, there was
and then you got over in
Greg
Cleveland.
Gumbel
You've
was on like the Today Show for gosh sakes. Like the
yeah,
guy. Yeah, I mean he was.
and
He did
wasn't his brother also in announcer?
Brian. Yeah, Brian's an announcer too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, so Trent, you're going to start with the East.
sure.
What do you got?
So well, the team that started out with what was it, 15 games in a row, they're still in first. What a surprise! at 26-4. They're just playing great. They're just a
That's
really good.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
They're just a really good team. They got good
Wow.
bench. They got a good coach. They play well. They have their kind of their big three almost, and they just play
Big
really
four,
well.
really, because they got the
Yeah,
two 7-footers in their
yeah.
backcourt.
But offensively, the big three is Mobley with those two guards, and those two guards healthy. They have a really good record when those two guys are healthy and playing together. Cleveland. So it's about the playoffs again. Last year, Mitchell was hurt during the playoffs,
Yeah.
and hey, they just couldn't get it done. Well, if those two are healthy and they have their bigs healthy and everybody's good,
Yeah.
they have a chance to be in the finals. There's no question about it. They just have a
They
really good
they
team.
they have a chance to win it all.
They do. And then Boston's right there, 22-8. I think Boston's going to be there the whole year. They're not going
Yeah.
anywhere. I know, like you said, Drew Holiday's kind of fallen off a little bit. I know he got hurt.
Yeah. He's
But he
hurt.
hasn't
He's
been
hurt
playing.
again.
Yeah, he's hurt right now.
Yeah.
And then you got the Knicks. There you go. So that now the Knicks are finally 20-10.
Yep.
When we were talking about a couple weeks ago, they were a couple games over 500.
Yep.
So they've been playing really well. They're only, what are they? They're 8-2 in the last 10, right?
Yeah.
So they're playing really well. And
You know, let's talk about why they're playing.
right?
Let's talk about why they're playing well, Trent. Seriously, that
Go for
trade
it.
the Towns
Oh,
trade.
he has just been that was the best thing they could have done
Wow.
for their team. Those
Best
two
trade all year so far.
the two trades that are best for me are that one and the free agent signing of Hartenstein. Those are the two ones that seem to make a huge difference on both teams they're on. Both
Yeah.
of them. He is just playing. Again, there's another guy probably playing, and he's had some good seasons, probably
Yeah.
playing his best basketball, Carl.
Statistically, it is.
He's
Statistically, it
and he
is.
looks good. He looks in shape. He's going
Yeah.
to the basket. He's not just standing around shooting three-pointers.
He's aggressive. He's
Minnesota,
in shape, and
I
he's close to where his dad lives.
It
Like
drove
he's
drove me nuts at Minnesota is that he'd stand
yeah,
around and just shoot threes,
yeah,
and he's this big 7-footer. You
yeah,
should be having a double-double every game. You should be in there getting offensive rebounds. You should be taking the ball to the basket. He's a good athlete. It's not like he's
yeah,
not a good athlete, right?
yeah.
But he was very
He looks cumbersome. He looks a little lethargic and kind of goofy. But dude, he's leading the league in rebounding. He's scoring 25 points a game.
yeah, he's
The
playing.
Villanova crew are feeding him. He's unselfish, and
Yeah, he's playing.
and if you look at Bridges, Bridges went off on Christmas Day.
Oh, man, Villanova Wildcats. Let's go.
Yeah,
Represent.
yeah. I mean, those guys,
I like it.
and their coach actually retired. I'd like to know what he's
Yeah,
doing now.
Dave
He's probably
Murphy.
just chilling.
Yeah, yeah, man. Who
But
knows? And then you got Orlando, and I mean they've kind of slowed down. They've had some injuries.
yeah,
They're 4-6 in the last 10, but it's more
yeah,
injuries than anything for them. They are just
yeah.
been devastated by
And,
injuries. All
and
their
their
best
backcourt, their
players.
guards, like I like Black. He's a 6'6", 6'7" kid, but he's not aggressive. Cole is not getting any run. He finally got a run when Suggs injured once again, and he had 38 in one game and disappeared. The
Right.
coach didn't play him, so I don't know what the hell's going on over there in the
Then you got
backcourt.
then you got the Heat again, 6-4 in their last 10. Jimmy Butler's not going to be there the whole year, and I
No,
feel
and
sorry for whatever
by the
team
way, he's
they
still
all their
sick, and
shit for him.
and
So
and the word is, sorry to interrupt. The word is he's missing 2 more games because apparently he's got a migraine.
he's sick and personal reasons. That was his. That
There's
was the
something wrong with that dude, man. I don't
Then
know
you
what
got
it
the
is.
Hawks, and the Hawks are kind of again they're a team that you and I we talked about at the start. Both these teams that are right here right now, uh, in 7th and 8th is Atlanta and Indiana. Those two young teams we brought them up at the start of the season, going okay,
Yeah.
those are the two teams. If it's time for them to make a jump, it's this
Yeah.
year. They've been riding that wave of a couple seasons of being on being in the mix, but not being
Yeah.
a team that anybody took seriously. Well,
Yeah.
they're playing people tough. Atlanta games are fun to watch.
Oh,
I'm a fan. They're fun to watch, man. They get up and down. It's not just Trey Young standing around dribbling the ball.
no.
The ball moves. Jalen Johnson, I believe, is just
Woo.
out of his mind for them.
Woo.
Like third-year player, he's averaging like 19, 10, and 5.5 assists. Like
Yeah.
and just a big, thick kid. And
Yeah.
athletic. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're a fun team to watch. So
And
Indiana,
Hunter being the 6th man, he's
yeah,
playing consistent, and
he's like I said, they're
yeah, and
they're a team that I wouldn't right now if the year continues as it is. They're a team I wouldn't want to have to play in like a best of 7
if they
because
could get Onkongu
they
back
could
from his big toe injury, apparently this one's not a big toe injury, but they've been talking about him taking over from Capella as the
big
head
toes
center,
important.
but they're still splitting it. Capella's get 26 minutes a
Yeah,
game, he gets
whatever.
24,
He's a
but
good solid veteran, Capella.
yeah,
He gets
yeah.
offensive rebounds, get blocks,
Well, he's
defensive
10,
rebounds.
10, and 2.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
take
that's
it
pretty
every
good.
day. Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a guy that's going to play 25 minutes, he's going to get 10-10. Okay,
Yeah, I
like
like him. I like him.
you put 2 guys like that, now it's 2020, right?
There you go.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like, Schneider, the coach. He's a good coach. Pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
Quinn, you know what? He's a great guy. He was going to be a brain surgeon. When he was at Duke, he was
Right.
studying to be a brain surgeon, and he decided to be a brainy coach in the
Yeah,
NBA,
yeah,
and he really likes him. I played against him in high school when he was in grade 10 at Mercer Island, and they won the Washington State championships when he was in
right.
grade 10 point guard. And we played against each other, and he was tough. And I remember we were selected as first team All Stars in the tournament in Nanaimo. And he came up to me and he said, "You know what? We haven't played against a lot of Canadian teams, but you're the best Canadian guard that I played against." And I was like, "Ooh, damn, thanks, bro. I appreciate that." It was very kind of him to say that. And he hasn't changed a bit. He looked exactly the same when he was in
Right.
16 years old than he does now.
Yeah. And then you got the bottom kinda half. I mean, Detroit's starting to they're like 500,
Yeah.
the Bulls, again, like you said, tons of injuries. And
Yeah.
then you got the bottom 5, and the only team I wanna talk about in the bottom 5 because I hate I shouldn't be laughing about it, but if you've seen the highlights of because we kind of I mean, we're never just so people know, we're not rooting for players to be injured. We're just making fun of the situation that the NBA has been in the last few years where
Yeah.
players seem to be injured more and to
Yeah.
be take games off and stuff like that. So during the warm up, I don't know if you've seen this. During the warm up, Embiid tripped over the rope, the fan rope that goes to the
Oh,
thing,
man.
and he fell down, and they thought he was gonna miss the game. He played and had a great game. They won, but I was just like, I'm trying not to laugh at the guy, and I'm going, "He's gonna be out for 2 weeks tripping over this rope, like, down,
Yeah.
falling," like,
And no, and then he's got the orbital fracture,
it's just
he goes mental 2 nights ago, and he starts swearing at this little 5'2"
yeah, whatever. Hey,
cute
man,
little
she's a
blonde
ref,
ref.
whatever. She's a ref, so she gets there's
She's a
no
ref. No, but I
men,
mean,
women don't care.
the NBA is going to come down. They're going to fine them huge.
Oh,
They
yeah,
they just
for
won't
sure.
tolerate it.
No,
They of course the NBA thinks that refereeing in the NBA they're the best referees in the world,
right.
and let's face it, that is not the case at all.
No.
Trent and I could do an entire episode in the NBA. I don't think anybody would watch it, and we should actually, after we talk about the Western Eastern Conference, we should maybe have a little quick chat before we finish up the show, Trent,
Yeah,
about officials in the NBA because something needs to be. We got
sure.
to talk about it.
So then and then the only I mean, obviously, we'll just bring up the Raptors briefly because we are a Canadian show. Again, we exactly what their record is at 724. We said this is what to expect.
Yeah,
They are in the Cooper Flag or whatever high
sweepstakes.
lottery pick
Yeah.
for the first 3 picks is what the Raptors are going to be at the end, and it's
As,
because they can't finish games. They just can't. They
well,
cannot, and they don't. And like you said the other night, they didn't play any defense.
they
Like it
play
was
zero D. They have
oh
zero. They don't have any depth.
no.
They if their big Austrian goes down, which he is, they've got Kelly, and I like Kelly, but come
I would
on.
I would challenge anybody to I like Davion Mitchell too, but he's having a start right now. He's a good
Yeah,
backup. I actually like Davion Mitchell. Plays
yeah,
D, can
yeah,
hit the odd three, but he
yeah,
plays defense. He always did. He
yeah.
did it at Baylor too when they won the national championship. He was like the
Yeah,
next
unfortunately, the
he's
Raptors
a
drafted
backup star.
three
Yeah,
guards this year,
yeah.
and I
I
don't know.
I would
I don't
challenge
know.
anybody to try to tell me who the 7th, 8th, and ninth players are in the Raptors. You probably couldn't. You've never heard of them,
Well,
and that's
I
hopefully
could, but that's because we're hoop
yeah,
junkies. But
okay, so
Trent's
yeah,
talking about in the East. You've got Charlotte Hornets are 7 and actually they won. They're 8-24,
they're terrible.
and they are terrible. But I love watching Lamella Ball, and I
Yeah,
like
Ferdinand.
Miles Bridges. Played great. He's been playing better. But honestly, beyond that, and the young kid out of Auburn, the 6'9" kid,
Yeah,
has
yeah.
been playing.
Brandon Miller. Yeah,
Yeah, man, and he's back, and he had a good game last night.
yeah.
But you're looking at Charlotte, Toronto, and Washington. It's embarrassing. Washington is an absolute tragedy.
It's
It's Shakespearean tragedy.
I love
Someone's
that
going to get murdered.
I love that Kuzma and Poole are there. That just makes
Yeah,
me
Kuza's going to be traded.
yeah,
They're gonna tank,
yeah,
and they're gonna trade the big Lithuanian, and they're gonna trade Kuz,
yeah.
and
Kuz
who
can get
knows? Maybe they
traded.
trade Poole.
Kuz can get traded, and Kuzma can get traded and get another tattoo. So that'd be great. So we'll go to the Western Conference.
You can tell that
Yeah.
Trent does not like Kuzma.
That's not even about liking the guy has such potential, but I think he's
Yeah.
more about the lifestyle than he was about getting any better at basketball. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
think
him
that's why the Lakers got rid of him.
And then so in the West, hey man, OKC 24-5, tied for the best record in the
Yeah.
NBA. Again, when Chet comes back, they need. I was talking to a guy on the West Coast that I played a lot of basketball with the other day, and we were chatting during the game, the Laker Golden State game the other night,
Yeah.
and they need with Chet back, and he can play four because, like I said, I love the Hartenstein signing. It was such a perfect signing for them. They need a guy who can shoot the ball consistently. I like Lucas Dort, good Canadian kid. Love the guy. I mean, I'm rooting
Yeah.
for him,
Yeah.
but he's a six man,
Yeah.
or he's a small forward who's not getting the amount of shots he gets right now because he's not that great a shooter. Now he's improved,
Yeah.
but they need a guy that can consistently, not just three pointers, just knock down shots from that
Yeah.
spot. Because Shea's not really he's not really a 3-point shooter. He'll hit some, but he's
Yeah.
mid range. He's a 90s player, man.
The best shooter on the team percentage wise is Isaiah Joe.
And I don't trust Jalen. Jalen Williams is so hot and cold.
Well, he's
I
been playing
just,
better in the last
but
week.
I just again another guy who he's still a young guy, so they're still improving there.
Well,
They
he
need a
started off. He started off at such a feverish pace; it was completely
well, of
unsustainable.
course. But I'm just saying, I think that's what I don't want them to chase after Jimmy Butler, but they need a shooting guard or a small forward
Well,
in that lineup.
Jimmy's not a shooting guard. Okay.
I know, but I'm saying shooting guard or small forward, right? One of those
Well,
two
then
spots.
they need both because Dort's he's 6'4".
Yeah,
They
he's
they they need a small forward that a
a
wing defender that can shoot threes.
good player.
And you're
But
right. And when Chet comes back, but they've won 10. They're 10 and
dude,
1 in their
they have,
last 11
dude,
games
they're
without Chet.
9-1 in the last 10, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, they're crazy.
it's
Then you got the
and
Rockets still. Rockets are still doing it. They didn't have them falling off. They're 21-9. They're still playing at a great clip, playing
just
well,
incredible. Yeah,
having fun playing basketball together. That's what it
fun
looks
team
like.
to watch too when they're
There.
really clicking.
And then you got Memphis, and that's the team we talked about the other day. Just when we
Love
were talking on the
Memphis.
phone. If there was a team that I I don't know where they'll finish in the standings, but
Yeah,
they're one of those teams that I would not want to play in the playoffs
yeah.
because they'll get you.
Oh,
They're just a good enough team, especially when everybody's healthy. When Junior can play small or power forward with Edie at center,
yeah.
they are tough. They are tough.
So
So,
last night, just a quick interjection about the Grizzlies. They for their team, they actually Grizzlies defeated Raptors 155 to 126 in a record breaking performance. It was the
yeah,
most points the franchise has ever scored, whether it was in Vancouver or Memphis. And one of the reasons is their Canadian big who came off an ankle injury
yep,
went ballistic and had 21 points, a career high 16 rebounds, including 9 offensive rebounds. And Jaren Jackson had 21 points and 11 rebounds, his first time being in double figures and rebounds, and a season high 6 assists. Desmond Bain, there's a Desmond Bain sighting. He has come back from this injury and he's been playing well. They've got this kid playing. You know what? This kid Jalen Wells is the type of kid that OKC could use
right.
because he had 17 points. He was 5 of 10 from 3 point. He plays really good D and he's 6'7".
They got a couple of
And then
Europeans coming off the bench.
yeah,
Yeah,
and John Morant, and then Scottie Pippen Jr. is playing really well. And believe it or not, Luke Kennard is actually injured, and he came in to do what he does. I just can't stand the guy.
he played last night. He was in the game. He came in.
I know, I just can't stand
Hey
him.
man, he's
I
a Duke
just
guy, so I mean, it is what it is.
yeah.
But
Trent
there
doesn't like Duke guys.
and then also just a footnote of that game, our boy, our Canadian guy, Zach Edey, just dominated your boy Kelly Olynyk, like
Oh yeah.
dominated him.
Well,
Like
I mean that it was quite
it's
obvious.
over.
I mean,
Kelly, if you ever watch this show, great player, college player, great player for Canada. It's over. You had a
yeah,
great career.
Trent's not a fan, but I love him.
Oh, no, I am a fan, but it's over.
Yeah,
We can put a
I don't
time.
think so. He had last night. He
It's over.
had 14
I don't
points,
care.
6
It's over.
rebounds, 5 assists,
Sorry.
3 threes, 2 steals. That is there's
Grow,
probably
grow a big
100 big guys in the NBA that couldn't do that.
grow a big, huge beard to go with your hair, and retire into the sunset.
Trent
Oh,
loves Kelly Olynyk so much that he's thinking about changing Trent's nickname to
yeah,
the
no,
what is it, the church lady or the grocery store lady.
yeah, no, it's not happening. But it's over, Kelly. So thank you very much for your decade of service. Just go away. But moving on, Dallas, 1911. Well, they're screwed now because Luka's gone for a month. So we'll see how they do. Although
Yeah,
Kyrie,
they were playing well too.
so and they're playing well. The Nuggets, they kind of picked it up a bit.
Yeah.
They've had some injuries, but they're playing a little. They've only been 500 in the last 6-4.
Yeah, and
But
they've got Junior on the trade block.
yeah, and then you got the Lakers at 17-13. They're 5-5 in the last 10.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I think Anthony Davis was fine. I don't think he's missed any time with that little he twisted his ankle on Christmas Day. So that was a great game, by the way. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate Golden State didn't pull it out, but Steph Curry at the end was just like, come on, man, one-footed in LeBron's face, three in the corner to
It was a good thing because there's
so,
3 games before that he
yeah.
looked like he was tired
Dude,
and ready to retire.
how I would ask you this though: how does he get that wide open on the three that tied the game? Like, what happened there? Because that's the one guy that you
Yeah.
don't even want to get the ball, right?
It's called atrocious
Oh my god,
3-point defense.
it was I couldn't believe, and like even the wife says she goes, "Ooh, he shot that from deep," and I'm like, "Yeah," but there's still nobody around him. Didn't
Yeah.
matter that it was 5 feet outside the line. Nobody was
Well,
even close. I
it's
mean, he just
interesting. I watched the game
oh,
last night. I told you I watched it, and I was watching his movement and the way Kerr runs his offense. Is he likes to get Steph easy looks
yeah,
in the beginning because everyone's playing him tight on the three because of his 3-point
yeah.
prolificity, and he was getting action off screens and running some really
Dude,
nice
he has such
sets.
he has such an underrated handle, dude.
Oh
Guy's
my
got
god.
guy's so good. I
But
mean,
also, Trent, also no one talks
shooter.
about, I don't know why nobody talks about this in basketball. One of my greatest strengths in basketball was to be able to move without the ball. If the
Right,
offense breaks down, usually after the first couple of sets
right.
in the initial whatever you're running,
Yep, yep,
it's how you read the defense and then
yep,
go to the opening gaps, move without the ball. You can get open, put your hands up and say,
yep,
"Hey, I'm open." And Curry doesn't stop. If you
yeah,
watch him when he plays, the
yep.
way they run their offense, he's always moving.
He's like Reggie Miller, man. He's running all
Yeah,
over the place all the
yeah.
time. He'd be terrible to guard
No,
because
Reggie Miller is like him. There's no one like
yeah,
Stephen Curry.
right.
He's the best
So
shooter in the world.
so down there you got after the Lakers, you got the Clippers, the Suns, the T-Wolves, and Golden State. Golden State,
Yeah,
I think, if any team I could see falling off out of the top 10, I could see it being Golden State. They're not deep. I think
no,
they're going to trade. I think they're putting Kuminga out there to trade bait as they're kind of to trade him because they need something else. I really did enjoy Zach Edey just dominating Draymond Green the other night, and
yeah,
Draymond looking at the ref,
yeah,
crying that this guy's pushing me around. Dude,
yeah,
you're trying to be physical. That
yeah,
guy's a man child. He's bigger
yeah,
than stronger than you already. Wait,
yeah.
give him 2 or 3 seasons, and he gets his man strength. That guy's going to be a beast.
Oh,
So hopefully, Draymond, Mr. Triple Single, will probably be retired by then. So, but I could see Golden State falling out of that just because they're just not that good. They have a couple good players,
yeah.
but they're not
They
that
got
great.
they got depth problems
They got to have Curry
and
score 40 and have games like that every night for them to
and
have opportunities.
people understand Draymond Green's in fantasy basketball. Yahoo is he's listed at 6'8". That's
Yeah,
generous, and Zach Edey's listed at 7'4". He's a mammoth mountain man. He's
no, but
325. People don't realize how big the kid is.
the best part of the whole thing, though, Paul, was that if you see the replay, you can probably go find it on YouTube. But he he pushes into Edey, like he comes in and he basically tries to body check Edey, and Edey just kind of hits him
Yeah,
and pushes him off, and then he goes to
yeah,
grab him and he
yeah.
throws him away again. And as soon as he does that, the ball's going up the floor. He turns around and he's looking at the ref, complaining to the ref that this guy is pushing me around. It's like, dude, you initiated the contact. This guy's too big for you. That's just
Well,
the way it is.
he started doing. I
It was
watched a
awesome.
little bit before I went for a long walk with the wife today at Olympic Village, and I watched the first 5-10 minutes, and Graymon was doing that right from the beginning. A
Yeah,
lot of really dirty
yeah,
shit. I thought they're going
yeah,
to call,
yeah,
and it was like, dude, do you have any idea what you're doing? You're just going to get an offensive foul for that kind of
yeah.
hand checking and elbowing and so on
Yeah.
because that kid ain't going anywhere. And you're right.
Walk
Once he
through it.
understands it, and he had his best game last night. I mean, 16 rebounds,
Yeah,
9 offensive.
yeah.
What is that saying? That means they
He's
can't
so big.
stop him inside.
He's so big, man.
And the only other person that can even play with him is Trace Davies, who's playing really
Right.
well right now. And I think he should be their starting center. And I think he should get more than 23 minutes a game. Sorry, I had to say that.
For who?
Trace Williams, Dale Davis's son,
Oh, right. Okay.
the
Yeah, yeah,
center for Golden
yeah.
State.
Right.
He should be starting. He is now, but I
He
mean,
actually played the other night and played pretty well. So,
he's played really
yeah.
well the last 3 games.
So then I think they fall down, but then you have right behind him, you have the Spurs, the Kings, Portland, Utah. Well, Utah and New Orleans, that's just a waste of our time. We don't need to talk about them. Portland played a little bit better, but they're 2-8, and then they kind of went to a little slump. I mean,
Yeah.
the disappointment in there is Sacramento, and obviously I think San Antonio at right outside of that. They're a game, a half a game behind that 10th spot right now,
Yeah.
and they're the team that, again, another team. Maybe they're super young. Chris Paul's a good veteran. For them.
Yeah.
But they're going to be, because of that kid. They are going to be, I would say, the next decade, if people are healthy, they're going to be a team to have to reckon with in the West, because that guy is
Absolutely.
just so phenomenal, and he's just
Yeah.
such a dominant player. So
Yeah.
I could see Golden State falling out of that, and even San Antonio or Sacramento, sneaking into that 10 spot for the playing games.
Yeah,
But
I think Minnesota's really they've got depth issues. They've got backcourt
that's great.
issues.
They've really struggled, dude. They haven't found any rhythm.
No, and
Randall,
Edwards was started off with a bang, and he's dropped a little bit, and he's getting fined. He's I don't know what's going
he's
on with
getting
the young man.
frustrated. Like he
Yeah,
said in
he's
an interview.
frustrated, no doubt. But the other guy that a lot of people don't like, and nobody talks about it, and the last 6 games have been playing really well, and that's ex Laker, their power forward, who hates Gobert, has been playing really well the last 3 or 4 games. He
Jalen,
is
McDaniels?
no,
Nas Reed?
lefty,
No.
lefty.
Oh, lefty. Oh, it's Julian Randle. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's been playing. He's a 2010 guy, and he drops dimes.
he's a black hole.
Yeah. I know you don't like him, but he's been
No, I
playing
don't.
really well.
Well, it's
And
not that I don't like him. I don't know him. Just not a fan.
yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're not a fan. You don't like him.
I just think he's like Carmelo Anthony. He's an offense stopper. The ball goes to him and he holds it. Sure, he
Well,
gets
he
some
he
here and
he
there.
actually dropped. He averages almost 6 assists a game.
Whatever.
Well,
Touches
it's
the
not
ball.
whatever. That's the fact. I can
So
read his
I'm not.
stats for you right
I
now
just,
if you
I
want.
think he was that trade. I mean, that was just a horrible trade for the T-Wolves.
New York stole it. They just honestly, the GM should be fired just for that trade alone.
It's that and the amount of people and picks he gave away for Rudy Gobert.
Oh, that was atrocious, man.
I next guy out
That
of there is
was
gonna be Anthony Edwards. You watch. He's just gonna go.
well.
If
I
they,
believe I can tell you one thing. Anthony Edwards would love to go to Miami,
oh, frick, I'm sure he would.
right?
So, but that's what we got. That's the standings right now.
Well,
So
that good job, Trent. That's really good. That's very detailed, and it's exactly what I have now that I've got my second laptop here. I can actually follow you, which is really cool because this web-based software that I have is I can share screens, but we've got to film this as well, right?
right.
Um, and what else? Anything else standed out in the world of basketball to you in any
No, man,
level at
just
all?
we got to talk about it. I think we could be a little more prepared for the talk about the officiating, because I think that would be a great discussion to
Yeah,
have.
we will. But I will. I will. And if you don't have anything else to say, I agree with you on that. We will. But I would like to talk briefly before we finish on the Canadian Elite Basketball League. It's the only professional league that we have in Canada right now, and I don't know how much I really should say, or can say, or will say, because I don't know much more, but I will tell you that the Canadian Elite Basketball League is a league that operates in the off season of the NBA and Federation FIBA basketball globally. So people that are playing in FIBA, not necessarily the NBA, but mostly global basketball. When they finish their European seasons or wherever they're playing, they could be playing in Japan, they could be playing anywhere, and they have 4 or 5 months off in the summer. You want to stay, you didn't get a fair deal. The coach sat you on the bench, you got fired, whatever. This league in the Canadian Elite Basketball League is an excellent opportunity for players to work on their game in the off season, for players to showcase their game for FIBA and potentially the NBA. And expansion is happening currently in British Columbia. You guys have a team in Alberta.
Yeah,
We
Edmonton,
will.
man, good team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
actually you guys have won the
yeah. One of the
CBL
better teams in the
championship.
last few years. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and so a lot of people don't know about it. We want to talk about it, but the latest rumors that I'm involved in, because in the beginning of this, before I got my referee's license in Kelowna, I was helping out my old friend Doug Plum, who was hired as associate head coach, more of a consultant coach, if you will. He's not on the bench, and he is in the community teaching basketball with the UBCO Heat junior program. And the head coach is from Trent's province of Alberta, who you know and played against,
Wait,
Pottinger, Clayton Pottinger. Yeah. And I had a chat with him. He took me for coffee at Starbucks in Kelowna just the day before I left Kelowna to come to Vancouver, and thanked me for helping him out. And he came to one of the games I was reffing, actually, and he was watching his daughter play. I was refereeing his daughter's game. And he's got a son who can play too. Clay's a nice coach and a good guy. And him and Doug Plum, and this is no secret to anyone that knows anything about the CEBL, is they have a front row seat to the expansion franchise in Kelowna at Prospera Arena for the upcoming season that starts in the off season in the summertime for 4 or 5 months. And Clayton and I had a chat about that, and he was asking because my real estate connections that if I know anybody, and this includes people that might be listening, if you're interested in being a sponsor for a Canadian elite basketball team, a professional basketball team, a new team in Kelowna, in the Okanagan Valley, one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's where I live as well. I live in Vancouver and Kelowna, so I'm blessed to live in two really beautiful places, but I love Kelowna. Prospera Arena is right in the cultural district. You get about 6,000 fans. It's perfect because they have the Kelowna Rockets there, and the Kelowna Rockets doesn't play the same time. So it's just basketball, basketball, basketball in Kelowna. It's the perfect place. And I've got a couple of connections that have money. I'm going to reach out to them and find out if they'd be interested in sponsoring. And they're talking about having a franchise this summer, or pardon me, 2025 summer. Brand new team, and the word is Clayton and Doug and whoever can put the money together. So Trent, if you want to tap into some of your millions,
yeah, no, thanks.
I'd love you to. I can
No,
speak on your behalf. We'll fly down to Kelowna, bring
no,
your cash with you, and maybe we can get in
no,
as assistant coach or something.
no.
But anyways, if you know anyone that loves basketball and has a lot of spare change and would like to be a sponsor for a new Canadian elite basketball team in Kelowna, please reach out to me. Comment at the Canadian Bro Show. And of course, my real estate website is at the bottom of the ticker right now at www.vancityurbanliving.ca. And on behalf of Trent Rowley, and who is on the Ben Poulin radio show, he's done 40 episodes, Two Guys and One Rant. You can find them on Spotify. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show, all basketball from Hoop Junkies, Pauly and ROWLEY. This is the second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show. The first, we've done 23 episodes. We're doing 24 on Sunday with my co-host with the second most, because Trent really is the most. And Johnny, no disrespect, but you're the most in a different way. You know what I'm saying, bro? Um,
Way more
uh,
brain power than this one.
Thank
So,
you very much for joining us, and thanks again, Trent, for taking the time to
yeah,
help us with this. And Trent has pretty much the best radio voice you could possibly ever
yeah,
imagine,
that.
and he's been a friend for almost 40 years, and very happy to have him. And thanks again for joining us. We're going to be doing an episode every Friday, and we're going to be talking about basketball and any and all capacities within the time frame of that episode. In the meantime, thanks again, and I'll just say it one time. If you like the show, please comment. It would be great to hear your comments. If you have any suggestions for basketball,
And
if you want to
subscribe.
talk, what's that?
And subscribe.
And subscribe. We need these subscriptions. We're trying to get to 500. So how it works is,
Or wait.
and we're at 27 right now. So we've got a bit of we could really use your help. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
We get to 500 subs and a lot of likes, and the algorithms of YouTube will really start to think of us as something that's somewhat important. And more importantly, we can be monetized,
we're
and
important. I don't need
and
the
we,
algorithms telling me I'm important.
yeah, right. But it's fun. It's something to look forward to. It's a goal. Trent and I like goals. We're goal orientated. We love basketball. And thank you for joining episode 9. I hope you enjoyed it. And as it says below, please subscribe, like, comment, hit that notification bell, share, And we, hope to see you on the next
See you next
episode.
week.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Trent. And we will go. That is everything today. Thanks again. Have a great day and a happy new year to everyone. Let's hope that 2025 is much better than 2024 was. Take care. Peace, Trent.
Yep.
Take care. Bye.